Good morning, Rabbi Oziel. Leilu Nishmas Mordechai. This is my final day on a very long trip for me. I'm not going to say it was easy. 5 days in Chicago. We had a hidden day in the 5 towns, then New Jersey, then a couple of days in Deal, then Lakewood, and now 2 days in Toronto. Baruch Hashem, it's coming to an end, but what a way to finish it, right here in Toronto. I had a tremendous time here. Last night was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful siyum. I don't know what the numbers are. 250 people showed up to the backyard here by AJ Shore, and the organizers, Mayor Planka and Ari Blau, unbelievable job. So yishkoyach. Anyway, we should all give another big welcome to Morty. He's there? What's he doing there? I spoke about him last night, but he's moving to Toronto. He missed his flight, of course. I want to tell you a ma'isa about him. Shloi b'fanov. He's not. Morty is a tremendous graphic designer. He's an IT guy. He did, like I said, he did the whole thing. He did the whole tablet. What? That's fine. Okay, whatever. They don't need to see it. But I'll tell you a quick ma'isa about him. We had Rabbi Yosef Oziel, who used to do our graphic art. He was nifter from COVID in his 40s. So Morty took over, and he does the art now. Morty insisted on not getting paid, but that we should pay Yiddi's family. So that's what we do. Mishpacha, MDY Chesed. So he's a great, phenomenal artist and a very talented man. So you guys, I'm serious. You guys are gaining a tremendous amount. His wife is, I heard, one of the biggest, most popular schools here in Toronto. They recruited her, so she's a tremendous talent, and he's a tremendous talent. So Toronto gained chesed, talent, the whole thing. Anyway, so yishkoyach for having me. I found out, I learned a new thing today. I met 2 normal Ishmaki guys in Shul today. It's hard to find, but they were very normal. And I was saddened to learn that even though they watched the shir every single day, they weren't here last night. And the pshat is, they didn't tell me the pshat. One guy said, shkoyach, wow, it's unbelievable. I have to make a bracha now. Amen. This guy had this excuse, he went to this l'chaim, that thing. There are people that don't like to socialize. They feel, it's hard for me to understand, but they get uncomfortable. And I told them, and I'm going to tell you, and anybody that's watching, it's an avla not to come to one of these things, even if you have social anxiety, etc. Because by you showing up, give chizik to the next guy. The next guy sees, here's another normal guy. Here's another guy. Wow, it's gewaldig, and this kind of guy. Sometimes we have it with Hasidim. They feel like a little uncomfortable, and now they're starting to come out in Bellworks. There's hundreds of Hasidim, literally hundreds. I was so excited to see them. So, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to break all these things, the social anxiety, the this, that, come out, be mechazik other people. Real quickly here, we have a few very, very gewaldig. I don't know if I'm going to get to all these emails. I got a lot of good ones. Learning with my granddaughter, Bayless. That's why a little bit of a problem. Douglas didn't hear Bichlal? No. Yeah, whatever. Don't pick it up. Now it's working.
Repeat it all.
No. My wife Ataris earlier organized a Zoom shidduch meeting with Rachel Rothman while I attended the scene with 1650 others at Bellworks. Bekitzer, Be'ez Hashem, there'll be many marriages based on this initiative, all in zchus of MDY. A big spread in my newspaper, the Queen's Jewish Link, about the 850 attendees in Brooklyn a while back. Rebelli, keep up the good work. Jerry Isaac. When I went to the last Yom Shas, Barclays Center, to Navia, I didn't feel that I belong. I'm just skipping around a little bit so we can get to the other ones as well. I thought about learning the Daf. On November 14th, I was talking to Uncle Phil and a Rav from Muncie. They both said to me, why don't you try the Daf? So I started learning Tainus, haven't missed a day since. I have to tell you, I was sitting to see him Thursday night, I was gathering the whole night with the speeches, singing, dancing, and the siyum, and it was an emotional evening for me, since I said to myself, now I belong. Now I'm accomplishing something meaningful in my life. Learning Yavamis wasn't easy, and I didn't miss a day. You made it easier to understand, and you have made learning the daf an experience for me personally that no other Magachir could provide. I know completing Shas will be a journey for me, but I'm up to the challenge. I'm 68 years old, and I hope to have the zchus to meet you personally one day and have a shmooth with you about life and Muna and how the Yomi impacts lives throughout the world. Hatzlacha, and thank you for that you provide me thousands of people throughout the world. By the way, I'm sure Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens will be available for next Yom Shas. Jerry Isaac, Shkrel Jerry, Joe Rogan. Listen to this. What's his name? You're laughing. Good morning, Rabbi. I want to give you a huge. Even Joe Rogan does the daf. Look what he's done, Joe Rogan. You can see. I don't know if you can see. You know what? I'll come out of it for a second. But he has a list here of all the Gemaras he's finished. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Sukkah, Beitza, Tainis Megillah Meikol, Chagi, Yivam Shkolem, Yivam Shkolem. Shkolem is tough. And now he's in the middle of doing Kesubos, Brachas, Shabbos, Eruvin, and Pesachim. I want to give you a huge thank you. I started with you by my cotton, went backwards from there and started watching. So don't say Joe Rogan doesn't do the daf. Started watching the Mars on YouTube, and now I'm doing brachas, and hopefully finish Seder Moed and Zroim soon. And it's all thanks to you. I honestly can't thank you enough. You're a bit tzaddik. He says tzaddik, so maybe it is Joe. I don't know. May God bless you with life till 120, and bless you to have all Jews in the world with Daf Yomi again. Thank you for the dedication learning Torah. May Hashem bless you 100 million times over. Do we have this one? This one is a very, very long one. How much time do we have here? Say it anyway. I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart. I'm going to skip around. Huge email. You see it? Yeah, but you don't see the whole thing. Words cannot describe that epic event. Uplifting, exciting, emotional at the same time. There were so many crazy MDY family members. I mean, crazy awesome. It was an experience I never had, standing with my son next to me while Shruly Goldstein, what does he mean? Shruly Goldstein was shooting at us. It's a moment I'll cherish forever. He's not talking about he's talking about the photographer. Rebelli, what were you thinking about giving the mic to your father-in-law? I knew you were a pilot, skydiver, scuba diver, skier, and occasional biker, but now I know that you were a maskless New Jersey gorilla, a professor during surgery as well. I always wondered from where the good morning Rabbi side, Kitzer, he has a whole pshat. It was when the guy woke up from surgery, he said, good morning Rabbi, and then he said, have a wonderful day. Okay, fine. If your vows wasn't confusing enough, you made charts that made absolutely no sense. Do you really think Yosef Klein would fall for a 5-town woman? The Baldwin brother would fall for a Burka lady? Does B'nai Yisrael and Africa not mean anything? Gival, still scratching my head and finding out what hypocrisy means. I never missed a daf since Megillah. Okay, I occasionally do miss a daf. What happens when I catch up my car driving, but I turn to 23-minute daf? Thank you. You too for the 2x speed, 23-minute daf. I'd like to ask you for a favor. If I get pulled over for DWD, driving while daffing, will you bail me out? Now, he's seriously going on to a whole nother mode here. On a serious note, I had a very difficult life growing up. I lost my mother right before my bar mitzvah, was severely abused when I was a teenager, quit yeshiva when I was 16, and suffered years of PTSD and attempted suicide and survived. I'm mentioning it in public so others going through similar struggles should know that falling is not a problem. It is possible to get back up and have a wonderful life. And doing the daf with the rebelli is the best therapy. I am living proof. As a 47-year-old, it's pasnish to give my age, so I won't. But Rebelli, I did not open a sefer since I left yeshiva at my young age of 16. 16. So 16 minus 47 is 50 years. No, is that 30 years? A few months ago, when one of the biggest scandals broke out in the Haredi world, I was triggered so hard I fell behind 20 years of progress. But that happened upon a promo with Yosef Klein of your shir, and for a reason I cannot explain, I decided to join the shir. Maybe it was the free Gemara. From the first daf of Megillah, I was hooked. It schlepped me out of a very dark place, and not only changed my life and of my family, but your shir also gave me a new purpose in life. I can't imagine going forward without MDY. For me to make a siyum on my fourth Masechta is my biggest accomplishment. Wow. Boise, last night, the guy, 62 years old, first siyum ever. Somebody must have fooled him. Said, I learned this Yavamas, it's easy stuff. How do you start with the Yavamas? But if he did it, anybody could do it. Unbelievable. The Simcha on his son's face. May I have much hatzlacha, nachas, wealth, health. Looking forward to many more Masechtas, many more years with MDY Family. Today's Mashiach. Thank you. Yours truly, Penny Taub, Staten Island, New York. Somebody's going to write me, why did you read Penny Taub's name? The guy's I don't know who he is. Seems like a normal guy. Nebuch went through a hard time. All right. I think that's there's another one. Itzberg, I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow for yours. Also a very, very long one. He says that ever since he's put on this t-shirt, he hasn't missed a shot in basketball. And in fact, he caught a few balls during the Mets game. He has so many messages. We'll read it tomorrow. Yesterday, I was talking about how the ear has, liquids, equilibrium, vertigo. Somebody sent me yesterday, makes a lot of sense, that the word oizen is izun. In Hebrew, izun means balance. And that's why it's called oizen. But what's very interesting is that just today I found out from somebody else that there's a big scandal going on in Eretz Yisrael, that anybody that used a ksuba from Yifei Nov, I'm saying the name because it's important to know, they are missing the word ve'ezon, izun, in the ksuba. So some gedolim say that the ksuba is completely puzzle, and obviously you can't live without a ksuba. So there's something going on right now. The word oizen, izun, that whole thing, very interesting. Sponsors. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Oh yeah, we have to get there. Here we go, sponsors. What just happened? Joe Rogan got on my thing. Okay. This is a good trick for when I'm on the road. Now I could. The Kailol sponsor Leilu Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. The Masechtas sponsor Leilu Nishmas Yosef Baruch ben Moshe Aaron. Leilu Nishmas Moshe Elazar ben Nata Shalom. These people are spending $9,000 each to sponsor the Masechta, and we have Akar Satayv to them. For the hatzlacha, b'chol anyanim, for my children. The second sponsor for the Masechta, Jeff Rosner, in zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Torah Chana Refuah Shlaima, sponsor of the month by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best segula. My son asked me, somebody without my permission put in the sponsorship for the Siyum in New Jersey for $10,000, meet Rebelli for 10 minutes. Did anybody fall for it? I said, yeah, 2 Meshugayim. Here's Meshugah number 1. I don't call him Meshugah. I mean, he's a great guy. He gave a lot of money to MDY, but he's Meshugah that he associated with talking to me. I was not happy about it, befrat that it was the middle of the Siyum, taking away from other people, but we did it. He's one of them. Not going to mention the other Meshugah now. Molandi, Mamash and Nut. By the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best segula. Refuah Shilayma for Chana, Yוכבד, Aviya, Bashifra Chaya. The MDY family, Nishmas, Shimshon Weiss, Shimshon Ben Meshulam Doid Zechron Livracha. As a zchus for our children to be college safe, healthy, happy, and know Hashem loves them. The sponsor of the week, this month, week, Masechta, unbelievable. I don't think anybody ever did a week. Michael Ben Shetrit, another giver and organizer of the Miami Chevra, in commemoration of the week of the 10th yahrzeit of Rabbi Yosef Oziel of the Miami community, who passed away on the 13th of Tammuz at the young age of 42. Rabbi Oziel was a tremendous Talmid Chacham, global following. He was my inspiration to start and finish Daf Yomi cycle right before he was nifter, and I continue to learn Daf Yomi in his memory. Nishmas, Eko Edna Tzipora, Bas Moshe Menachem Alevi, her Neshama should have an Aliyah. Also, parents of the week, I didn't notice that. Okay. And her husband is donating Sefer Torah for her first yahrzeit. In honor of the one and only Mark Ashkenazi's birthday. Wow, sorry. Sorry, AJ. I'm sorry for my new... Morty, you got a new one? Where is he? It's fine. Shkoyach, don't worry about it. Penny Taub. I was so excited about Mark Ashkenazi's birthday and knocked over my water. But we have coffee here. Givaldig, I need it. Penny Taub. Oh, he's the guy that I just read his email. Bunai, Chaya, Mazoina for the entire MDY family. Givaldig. And Leilu Nishmas, Imi Mirasi, Ruas Bas Mordechai. I saw this today. Rabbi Benzin Abashal says that when you learn Kesubos, these dapim, a lot of Hasidic yeshivas, they start like, I forgot, Daf Yud. They just skip the whole beginning. But he brings these two psukim that the beginning of each letter spells out Kesubos. If you learn these dapim with the right thoughts, you'll have covered. But if you have other thoughts, so we're holding Daf Vav today. Believe it or not, we're holding where we need to be holding the top of that Vav. Says the Gemara, we're talking about if the first Bia could be on Shabbos or not. So we have the very Rav Amri. Interesting, everybody is biased to their own Rebbe. Thank you. Said we're learning. Don't worry. Unbelievable. Mamish made me feel at home. Running to the store 5 times to get me this fruit, that fruit, Shkoyach, Meir, the whole that. Minimize. We're minimizing. Not tomorrow. The next year is going to be in the Beis Hashem if we all make our flights. Over there, we don't have to minimize. We don't have to this. It just happens by itself. It goes on the screens and everything's great. B'vei Rav Amri. Rav Shari. Rav says it's mutter to have first be on a Shabbos. No concerns of chabura, of this, of that. Shmuel says it's also. Happens to be that we paskin lahalacha bia rishona is mutter on Shabbos. Not only that, whoever's machmer not to, the Mishnah says, is masmiyim, he's making a huge mistake. No reason to be machmer. We don't have to be concerned about the tsar of a woman, adarabba, earning Shabbos, the whole thing. It's not an issue. That's how we paskin. Rav Shari, Shmuel also. Ben Ardo Amri, Rav Asar, Shmuel Shari. Okay, so in Shmuel's yeshiva they say, Shmuel says it's mutter. In Rav's place they say, Rav says it's mutter. Omer Rav Nachman Yitzchak. If you want to remember who says what, it's more of a chachma today, any generation, to be the mekel, to come up with the goal, just to be a rabbi and say, yeah, asar, asar, that's not a chachma. To go through the halacha and paskin and take responsibility and say, this is mutter, that's the chachma. You should know that in Rav's yeshiva they said Rav was mekel, in Shmuel they said Shmuel was mekel. Ask the Gemara. Rav Shari, Rav says Dover Sheinim Skaven is mutter. So here we have the classic picture that I got permission. All my pictures, besides I'm talking about from the Jewish publications like the Art Scrolls and Yoni, and I got specific permission to me to use them. So I believe this is a Yoni. Whatever, Masechet Shabbos, they said what it was. He's not makbid, I should say his name or not. Art Scroll are very makbid. When I use their thing, I say, you have to say the Heritage Foundation, there's a whole nusach you have to say. Anyway. Not kidding. That's what Rabbi Zlanowitz told me. Sometimes I forget. I said, the Art Scroll, the Olam understands. But this is not Art Scroll. This is like a Yoni. But the point is, he's trying to get his bench from point A to point B. He has one thought. I need to get it from here to there. If I was strong enough, I would lift it up and bring it. I'm going to drag it. Now, by dragging it, you are creating a furrow, and a furrow is also to do, especially if you need it. Hi, who says this halacha? Rav says. Now listen to this. I'm not going to play you the whole voice message that I played Aryeh Meir this morning. I thought it was amazing. I left a message to our in-house artist. His name is Yoshi. I said, Yoshi, I'm learning the Vav. Ayin in the Vav, where it says that there's a Musachraydin as Yosef. I said, look in our scroll, number 5 in the English, because that's what he has. He has English, and if he doesn't understand, I want you to understand it perfectly. I didn't say those words. I said, it's a barrel. Get a barrel that's dripping beer, and the guy, you plug it up with a shmata, and maybe perhaps put a potato head underneath. Those were my words. You could ask them. It's a minute long message. If you want to do it, you don't want to, don't do it, you don't have time. Boisai, this is what he came up with. I think it's phenomenal. It makes the sugya that much more geschmack. Here it is. Isn't that great? Unbelievable. So it's our potato head. It's an in-house potato head. He looks kind of drunk. It reminds me of something last night. We're not going to go there. Like during Ma'ariv, his mouth is open. You could see the beer actually dripping off the shmata into his mouth. Mamish Givaldik. So it's also to take that shmata that's full of beer and put it into the hole. Why? Because what's going to happen? You're going to squeeze schita, the beer, right out of that shmata. Is it humanly possible to take a wet cloth and put it into a tight hole and not have water come out of it? Impossible. It's physically impossible. So Mela, that, says Rav, is also. Says the Gemara, so if so, why is beer Rishayna any different? You're going to make a chabura, you're going to be moitzi dam. How could you do that? Rav is the one that says that this case, the barrel is also. Shouldn't be any difference between a barrel and a woman. Says Gemara, no, this is a special case, a barrel. Reb Shimon, the Amrit Arvayu, Moeder Reb Shimon, everybody agrees. Abaya and Rava like to argue throughout Shas. Over here, they come together and they're in agreement. This is bad news for everybody. If they're both in agreement, it's like Rabbi and Shmuel agreeing to something, Abaya and Rava agreeing to something. Everybody agrees that even Reb Shimon, who says that you're allowed to schlep a bench, even though you're creating a furrow, but psikreisha, v'loyamos. If you're going to cut off the head of an animal, is he not going to die? So by the barrel, since you're going to squeeze it, it's 100% going to have water squeeze out of it. So even Reb Shimon holds it's aser. If 1,000% you're going to drag a bench, and 1,000% you're going to make a furrow, Reb Shimon holds it's aser. It's only because maybe you'll make a furrow, maybe you won't make a furrow. I don't have to be concerned. But if you know for a fact you're going to dig on Shabbos, then it's awesome. But by a woman, it's different. Why is it different? Now we have to wait a few minutes. But the point is that not 100% is going to be dam by a woman. Not 100%. There's ways to do it without dam. And Memela, Reb Shimon would hold that it's mutter on Shabbos. The halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, forget Reb Shimon. The halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Rav Chanon, that what? Rabbi Yehuda says, Dav Hashem is kavin, dragging a bench on Shabbos, even if you don't have kavana to make a furrow, it's also. Rav Chanon bar Rabbi Shmuel, halacha Reb Shimon, and Rav Chanon bar Rabbi says the halacha is like Reb Shimon, that it's mutter. Rav Chia bar Abba, Rav Chia bar Oven, Masinlah, Beloy Gavri, there's no names, we're direct to the source. Rav Amar, halacha Reb Yehuda, the Dav Hashem is kavin, also. Which one? Shimon. Upon him, you see the Rav holds Dav Hashem Miskaven is Osur. So even forget about psikreisha, not psikreisha. Forget about if it's 100%, not 100%. By the way, here you have a perfect example of Kesubos being Shas Katan. We're going into the sugyas of Masechet Shabbos, of Reb Shimon, Reb Yehuda. Then we just move on to another sugya. But we're tapping into many sugyas. And even if you never learned Masechet Shabbos, now we're very familiar what Dav Hashem Miskaven means. Picture the bench. There's different cases. Sometimes it's 100%, sometimes it's 80%. But Rabbi Yehuda holds it doesn't matter what the percentage is. Even if it's only 50% that you're going to make a furrow, it's awesome. So, and Rav says that Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda. So how can you say that you could be with your wife for the very first time on Shabbos? Rav Oh, so I did tshuva this morning. Again, on the road, the hours are different, the obligations are different. Spent a lot of time for the siyum, etc. Something I wanted to do yesterday, so you can actually take these charts and use it for yesterday, just to show you what chart I wanted to do yesterday. Here it is. It seems complicated, but it's not. But basically, this is what we learned yesterday. I don't know if I can make this larger. Let's see. Maybe. No. No. Sorry, guys. We'll go to the smaller one. But I'll explain to you what you're seeing here. It's not so super important. But red means aser, green means mutter. The Gemara starts off on top with two options. Is the dam in like a sack, born like that, ready to be taken out? Memela, you're not creating a wound, you're just taking something out. We're going to have all the way at the end of today. If a person has a boil and there's pus in the boil, it's mutter to take the pus out on Shabbos. It's waiting to be taken out. It's mutter. You're allowed to take out blood. It's in a bag. Poke a hole, comes out. It's not part of the body. That's on the right. On the left, we have a red one. No, it's a chabura. So the Gemara has, it's like it's an intim tzim. If you say we go to the right, now we have two more options. And if we pick another option to the left, underneath that's also green, that's mutter, there's another two options. And then there's another option that's green, and we keep on going until we get to green. We go green, green, green. Okay? Or we could take the top option and do the same thing. We have, okay, even if it's aser, I could wiggle my way and make it green. I could get to the green at the end. Or we start out with green and it's mutter and just make sure it's a maze. Wherever I go, I have to go to the place that's mutter. So I could start out green and end up green, or I could even start out on the left red, but somehow make this act mutter. Okay, so how did that work? Is that understood differently than yesterday? No. Okay. It's just green and red. So because, what's your name again?
Rosner.
Rabbi Posner understood so well yesterday, he's going to come up here and explain the whole shot.
I'll come happily.
I'm not threatening you. Okay, good. What is it called? He took what's the lesson? He take the bluff. He called the bluff. Says Gemara. Rav Amalek review the Shmuel Amalek review. Leilu Rav can review the Srilay. So now we're going to go in this one. That Rav holds like Rabbi Yehuda. So we're going to start with the green. The blood is in a bag. It's separate from the body. So to speak, I'm just putting it in very layman's terms. Okay, don't ask a doctor, is it true? It's in a bag. Now, luckily speaking, is this dam separate from regular dam, special dam psulim there just for that purpose? It might regenerate, it might this. I'm not saying it's in a bag, literally sitting, that drop of blood is there from the time that the baby is a day old. But you're going to ask me, okay, if it's in a bag, does he want the dam or does he want an opening? What is he trying to do? And if he wants the opening, do we go like Rabbi Yehuda? Yes, we're going like Rabbi Yehuda. But is the opening bad or good? See, those are the options. So now we're going to go to red, green, green, red. But even though we're in red, we could come out at the end that it's green, it's mutter. Why? Because even though, like Rabbi Yehuda, that Dav Shenim Skaven is aser, but if I ruin something, I created an opening on Shabbos, that's a terrible thing. I don't want to open up my wall on Shabbos, and all those guys are going to do snatch and grab, whatever they're going to do, without a door. I need a door. So over here, the same thing. Yes, the opening can be great, because that helps them out in life. They'll have children, whatever it is. But it's also bad. We said there's a tzad that it's really bad for her. She's not a psula anymore. So it's considered kilkul. Running on Shabbos is a kilkul. Mekalkul tzila Pesach, and Memela, even Rabbi Yehuda holds green, it's mutter. So we started and we ended up with a green. So you're asking me, how in the world could Rav say that the first bia is mutar on Shabbos. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda that even if you don't have kavanah on Shabbos, it's asur. But at the end of the day, even Rabbi Yehuda holds there is a case that it's mutar if you don't have kavanah and you're ruining that combination of not wanting to do an act and coming out with a terrible act, ripping your suit without wanting to do it. It's mutar even according to Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. Lahach lishno. Now, beautiful. Now let's move to the left. Start out with a no-no. We're going to start out that it's chabura mechaber, it's chabura. We're starting not good. We're going to end up, even though we're starting out that it's chabura, you're not allowed to shecht an animal on Shabbos because you're taking blood. Ki adamu hanefesh. Your netilas neshama on Shabbos is asur. So too, you cannot scratch your friend or cause him a nosebleed, punch him in the nose, cause him a nosebleed, because that is bloodletting on Shabbos, and that's netilas neshama. You're taking a little bit of the person's neshama out on Shabbos. Is it the right? So we're going to say that being with his wife on Shabbos is a chabura, it's a wound, also. But we're going to go all the way down. And he did it for Hana. And it goes according to, even if Rabbi Yehuda, that says that it's asur, but it's a mekalkel. Now we're at green. Mekalkel, Rabbi Yehuda admits that it's mutar, and the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. Fine. Even Shimon, at the end of the day, Rashi says that he's going to be admit to that. But even Rabbi Yehuda, the big machmer over here, is going to be mekel, because it's ruining. Mazar of Chizda, we have a question. A girl who never saw dam in her life, she's between the age of 12 and 12 and a half. It's not the time for that age group. We're not talking about in America, Toronto, where they eat all these hormones in the meat and everything changed. Talking in those days, up until 12, it was not normal to see dam. So Memela, we have a situation that she gets married. There's a cult, let's call them a sect of even religious people in Eretz Yisrael today. They marry off their kids at 12, 11. Big scandal in Israel. The cops came in there 2 years ago, arrested a bunch of people. And they try to make chuppahs when the cops are not watching. So, the whole thing, fine. I'm not going to go into it. Time of the Gemara, this was normal. And the question is, there's dam. The husband finds dam. What kind of dam is it? Well, she's not of age yet. So we're going to assume that this is dam psulim. And there's a huge difference. Dam psulim doesn't make her tummy. Now we're knowing to be machmer and it's tummy. But in terms of the eraisa, it's not tummy. And then the following day again there's dam. And again there's dam. So what is it? Well, maybe it just coincided with the time that her body creates dam. So the halacha is b'shamay noisim arba leilos. Give her 4 nights, freebies. We'll associate the dam to the psulim. So any time there's dam because of tashmish, we're going to say that's because of the wound didn't heal, and it's from the psulim. Says the Gemara, when he says, but if she's of age, she's already 12 and a half, and she gets married, and then she sees dam, but she never saw dam before in her life, but she's of the age, she's 20 years old. Okay, we'll associate that dam. The coincidence, the punct, that's what happened. No. The dam that she sees now is from psulim, from nothing else. Well, let's read the words carefully before we turn the page. Ad Motzei Shabbos. She has a freebie, Motzei Shabbos. Whoa. 4 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, which is Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos. It says Mefurish over here that Biri Shaina is Friday night. It says you have 4 nights here, no? It's Leilu. My love, Dilui Baal, let's say it wasn't Baal. Motzi Baal, I feel b'Shabbos. Not going to get into it really, just beremes, because there are some that say that one should not push off the Bir Rishayna. Some say it's not a problem. Ask local rabbis. My love, Dilui Baal, whatever. He whatever. It didn't happen. Didn't know what he was doing. Didn't know how. Where. So he's already 2 days into his marriage, and this is Bir Rishayna. 3 days into his marriage. It says that he has 4 days, and one of them is Shabbos. So you see, Bir Rishayna can be on Shabbos. There's a problem with Shmuel. Shmuel says you can't. He says he could. Feel Shabbos. So we just turned to Vav Beis, spots of Moshe Horn. When I get to Eretz Yisrael, I'll print it and put it in my Gemara like I always do. No, it's about peh. Don't send me an email. Some guy sent me an email. He didn't mean that Rabbi Medetsky is the best basketball player. Maybe he's the best Jewish basketball. Okay, shkoyach. Yeah. I don't think he's better than your typical high school guy. That's okay, fine. Best Jewish basketball player, which means nothing really. It's for our egos, it means something. Bemes, I didn't tell you my side. I was. Rabbi Medetsky's going to laugh. I was 19 years old. I used to dunk then also, but not during a game. And we wanted to play ball like on Avenue Z. I don't remember. We used to go to Nostrum Avenue, play over there. I don't even remember the names anymore. And there's a bunch of people playing there. We couldn't find the court. So we started driving around the car. We found the court in the projects, mamish in the projects. I don't remember where, but we were a bunch of guys. So we started playing there. All of a sudden, these guys come out like, get off the court. So they all look at me, because I was the Meshugana. So I'm like, I'm not getting off the court. Do something about it. So we said, get off the court. I said, we're not getting off the court. You get off the court. Kitzer, they said, you know what? Then they had achna, they had respect. They said, we'll play for it. I said, you'll play me, you guys, you're all a bunch of whatever. I said the name, that. You guys, we're a bunch of Jewish guys. We don't know, we can't play you. I'm telling you my Shaya. No, I didn't use a bad, I just said, we're not African American, we're Jewish. We can't play. They didn't take offense to it. They said, you know what? I said, all you guys could dunk and 360 and all that stuff. We don't know. It's not fair. So they said, well, my Shaya, you can ask my friend Chanoch Horowitz, he was there, and all these other guys. You pick any one of us, and he's the only one that could score. So we picked the youngest guy. We said, okay, him. This kid by himself, 11-0. Everything was a dunk. Everything was alley hoop. He's meshug. I'm not joking. 2.5 minutes later, we were in our cars driving away, looking for another court. Okay, so this is the best Jewish basketball player. Yishkoyach, go play with that guy. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I can tell you mice from there to tomorrow, but you don't want to hear it. Next, Zoti tomorrow. So sponsored in the zchus of Rabbi Medetsky, who's a Rebbe in the Torah today, who doesn't play really anymore, just against his 4th graders, because those are the only kids he could beat. And he's the best basketball player that ever lived. And in honor of Rav Nakash by Nesanel, who brought him to the daf. Zok the Gemara. My love, Omarava loy lebar m'Shabbos. When it says 4 days, it doesn't mean the Bir Rishayna can be on Shabbos. Abaye, what are you talking about? Ad Motzi Shabbos. It says 2 things. Up until Motzi Shabbos, Arba Leilos Katani. There's 4 nights. One of those 4 nights is Friday night, which is Shabbos. Elo Marava, I'll tell you the Pshat is Kishabal. No. He already had relations with his wife on Wednesday night, Thursday night. Nu Kishabal, Michael Mashmal. So you tell me a Chiddush? He already had relations on Thursday. He could continue on Shabbos. What's the chiddush? There is a chiddush. I would think that maybe he's continuing to do some sort of damage. He might let out a little bit more dam on Shabbos. That's the problem. A guy, let's say, has opening to a cave. He's struggling to get into the cave, and he crawls. And his head hits the top of the thing, and he knocks out a piece of dirt on Shabbos. Is that a problem? He just widened the cave a little bit. Mutter, that's mutter. We're talking about a physical cave opening, a physical door. It's mutter even though he just literally, without taking a shovel and digging, he did it with his head. It's mutter, because he didn't have intent to do that. He was able to fit it without it, and he just widened it by mistake with his elbow, with his head. So Meila, Afabisha Meshur Tzroyers, even though some stones just fell out of the wall. Same exact thing with his wife. I would think it would be awesome. So Meila, that's the Chiddush, even though the main act was done 2 days before, I would think it's also to do on Shabbos. That's not a problem. That is mamish shaloi b'kavana. That has no idea. It's not psik reisha. Mechatesa, more is going to happen, and it's not miskaven. So therefore, it's mutter. Or Moser of Yosef. The famous sugi. If you ever learned brachas, many of you, most of you learned brachas, and this is a famous sugi there. Moser of Yosef. I got yelled at. You said that there's hardly any mayad. You're right. There's mayad. There's Shabbos and brachas and everything. Mazar of Yosef, Chasim Potem Kriyashma Laila Rishon. The famous halacha that in the time of the Gemara, a Chasim doesn't have to say Kriyashma. Why? Because his mind is occupied with another mitzvah, and a mitzvah, Potem in a mitzvah. There's a lot to be said over here. Taisus on the spot over there talks about, what about us? We wear tzitzis. Or in those days they wore tefillin. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to shake a lulav. I don't have to give tzedakah. I'm wearing tzitzis. Says Taisus, obviously, that's not a good enough reason. Why? Because I could do both. I'm not tired with it. Over here it's tired. Your brain is occupied with it. As we're going to see soon, it has to do that he's tired in a mitzvah. Now, Rabbi Yashiv says that this applies only to the halacha kriyashma, because kriyashma is a mitzvah that you have to have kavanah. You have to know what you're saying. Lulav, maybe you don't need that much kavanah. I know I'm shaking a lulav. I know I'm doing it. I don't have to be mchav in every word. That's Rabbi Yashiv's chiddush. As a side note, there's a lot of side notes here. The Chaim, when he was sick, and this is halacha l'maisa. It happens to us a lot. We're in middle. It happened to me yesterday. Middle of learning, in middle of this, and all of a sudden they start davening mincha. What do? Now learning is one halacha. I happened to be preparing for the shir, and it's tzarich rabim, and this and that, and they started mincha, and I had to make a decision. Am I going to jump up in this? The shir is going to suffer. Fine. I'm not going to get into that one. That's a very complicated halacha, not for everybody. But a simple one. You're in a hospital, you're taking care of a sick person, you're wailing a sick guy in a wheelchair, and you have to daven mincha. Most people, they'll drop the wheelchair, let the guy roll into the street, and run chab a million. I mean, not literally like that. But mincha, shachris, minion. And the Chavetz Chaim was really upset that people left him. As he himself was sick and elderly, they left him to go daven a minyan. And he said, there's a Chavetz Chaim, and each person take it to your own thing and ask your local rabbi. But he said, davening is the rabbanon, taking care of a sick person is the deraisa. So you have to know, you're doing this mitzvah, do you drop it to do another mitzvah? And I say this all the time about learning. You're learning Torah. Do you jump up and run on that tzala call or not? So again, if somebody else could take that tzala call, no. Tzedakah, like that guy that jumped up in Mil Shir and he ran away to collect tzedakah on Erev Yantif. Each case individually, but there's such a musik as Isaac mitzvah, but the mitzvah. Okay. Stam, in those days, the halacha is that the chassan doesn't say Kriya Shema. What about in nowadays? Nowadays, it's a gaiva to say, I don't have kavanah. Every chassan is supposed to say Kriya Shema. Why? Because we don't have kavanah anyway. So say Kriya Shema. So let me ask you a question. Thinking about this question is bothering me. Why is it in those days? In our days, we don't have kavanah anyways. We don't have kavanah. Somebody asked Gary to lower it, to tell him it's not MDY here. Gary! Shkoyach, thank you. Maybe speak to him. Tell him to come listen to the shir. He's not doing any cameras.
Go hear it on YouTube.
It's true. You know, a lot of people complain to me. They go, "You talk so slow." I'm used to it. I don't want to have speed. And all of a sudden, come down. Hi, come, sit down next to me. You don't have to sit there outside. We're listening to you, actually. That's what's happening. Okay. Shkoyach. So, it's my fault. Fine. So anyway, people complain that they're so used to doing 1.5 speed. I must talk slow, they say. Okay, fine. So that's why he is going to probably listen, like you said, on YouTube. We'll be down like zchus. Great. Where was I? Oh, so today we have very little kavanah. We're doing a little bit of a mitzvah. Do the little mitzvah. Don't pretend that you're mechaven. Even though you're tired with your mitzvahs, do the tiny mitzvah of kriya shema shalom kavanah. So let me ask you a question. I think there's a good chap here. Why is it that in the time of the Gemara, they said, don't say Kriya Shema? Say Kriya Shema, like the Americans say, like the Torontonians say in 2022, a Shvacha Mitzvah. You, in the time of Rebbe Akiva, say a Shvacha Mitzvah. Say Kriya Shema, mamish on a very low level without Kavanah, like they're going to do 2,000 years later in our days. Why not? No? Anybody have a good answer? Let's see if somebody's mechaven to me.
We have a siddur now.
That's not kavanah. Kavanah is here, not blah blah blah. People don't know where they're holding. You say Shemona Esrei. Did I say it? I don't remember if I said it. Did I bench? What do you mean, did you bench? It takes 5 minutes. You're supposed to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't remember if you bench it? Nobody knows what they're saying. They spend more time looking if the thing is a laser straight. Fine. I don't know, look it up. Okay, I hear. He's saying you might be machshir in the future. I think, tell me what you think about this. It's possible that HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges us based on what we're capable. And it goes to every individual. Some individuals, they're not very smart. They say to me, I'm not very smart. A lot of people, I don't know, I don't have the skills in Gemara. Because Baruch Hu judges you based on your skills, on your skill level, on your background. If you don't have a religious background and you struggle reading Gemara, or you have a religious background, you struggled with Gemara your whole life, because Baruch Hu doesn't demand that you should be able to say the entire Baba Kama on a trip from here to there, and the entire Baba Basra. That's not your seichel. Your seichel is 10 daf. So his demand is going to be 10 daf. For him, 100. For you, 10. Or for him, 10 and you 6 lines, whatever you're capable. Mela, today, we're terrible. We don't know how to be mechaven, none of us. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I demand of you to say Kriya Shema with that level of kavanah, that we start off strong, and then by V'ahavtas Hashem, we're already on vacation, we're skiing down the slope, then we come back for a minute, the whole thing. But in those days, that they were capable of doing kavanah, for them to do no kavanah or little kavanah is a 0. Better don't say it. Don't be like the Americans 2,000 years later. You have to be like a Tana. You have to say the kavanah. If you don't have to, I'm going to hold you liable for having shvach kavanah. Don't do it at all. But for us, that's the best we can do. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy with us. It's a limud zchus for us. Our little kavanah that we have, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very happy with. Almost to the level of maybe, I'm just saying maybe, to the level, and we see it a lot throughout Shas, that kind of idea. If you like it, let me know. You don't like it, also let me know. Zok the Gemara. Where am I? Oh, so only by this Chasim. Chasim Badam Kriyashma, Laila Rishon, Admon, so Shabbos. Now, Laila Rishon, what does Laila Rishon mean? Based on the first mission of Masechta, you get married on a Wednesday, so that's Laila Rishon, and he's potter from Kriya Shema all the way 4 days later to Matzah Shabbos. Im lo yosamaisa. If he's still occupied in his thought, whatever he's occupied, it seems like from the sugya, he's going to do the right way, is it going to be hataya, not hataya, the whole thing. So Mela, he has 4 days that he's potter from Kriya Shema. My love, the Torah the boy limival. His occupation that he has to perform a mitzvah even on Shabbos. We're trying to figure out, could be a Rishon to be on Shabbos or not? And over here it seems like he could, because he's potter on Shabbos from saying Kriya Shema. Why is he potter on Shabbos? Not because he was already with his wife on Wednesday, because then he wouldn't be potter on Shabbos. It's already passed. Not because he's on Thursday, because he's occupied, because he hasn't been with his wife yet, and it's Shabbos now, and he's still occupied. So maybe you see that you're allowed to be with your wife on Shabbos for the first time. The Torah the loy boy. His tirda is the fact that he wasn't mekayim a mitzvah. So again, he's saying no, it's aser. Maybe the pshat is it's aser on Shabbos, and that's why he's occupied. It's bothering him. Why wasn't I with my wife on Wednesday and Thursday? A guy that has some tirda on his head, he has something weighing heavily on his mind, that makes him less obligated to say Kriya Shema. If a guy's ship goes down, his business goes down. So it happens all the time. People lose money in the stock market in the morning. So he's potter, that's it, because he's depressed. He's potter, he doesn't have a job, he's out of work. Potter? No. It's a special hatzlacha by Chasan. Brings to mind this Tavas Finasai, the famous mashal, but I want to tie it into the daf, of course. The mashal is a guy is on a wooden boat with another 200 people, and he goes into his room, and he takes out a drill, and he starts making a hole in the bottom of the boat, because he wants to fish. And the boat starts sinking, and people are knocking on his door, and he says, be quiet, mind your own business, I'm in my room. And they're like, no, we're all going down, we're all in this together. Right? The mashal. Who says the mashal? I don't know. Chaim? Probably. Everything's Chaim. So to Klal Yisrael. We're all in it together. So you can't tell a guy, hey, don't tell me not to talk in shul or whatever, it's none of your business. No, we're all in this together. It's our ship going down. So what does that have to do with the daf? You have the guys that go around and they save our ship. They go around and they make sure that nobody's drilling holes in the rooms by bringing them to the daf, bringing Torah into their life. Huh? Why? Why do they go around? It's your business if I learn Torah or not? Yeah. We're all in this together. We're Arevim, Zelazeh. Okay? Fine. You have this other guy, by the way. I was talking to Meir about this. This is the givers and the takers. Of course, everybody in this room are givers. But anytime you do a function like this, there's the guy that always says, I want to do. What can I do? What can I do? Here, take my house. The same guy that gave his house also made all the food, right? He's a giver. There's givers. And this is the guy that's a multimillionaire, and he comes and he goes, I really can't afford the $20, the $40. After you could do for me and give it to me. So I need 6 pairs of socks too, There's the takers. The takers. I'm serious. You see, I'm not talking about anybody not here in Toronto, in other places. There's always the guys that take and take and take. There's guys that give and give and give. There's a taker and giver. So the guy was drowning. Mom was drowning. So the guy runs over to the shore and says, give me your hand. Give me your hand. And then he chapped. He's from the other guys. He says, take my hand. Oh, take my hand. He grabbed on. All right. Zog the Gemara. It's no joke. You see these people, you don't understand. Not a dime to shul. Not a dime to shul. Guy has 47 nursing homes. Not one dime to shul. What you mamish? But it's a mentality. It's a certain mentality. Huh?
They have qaidus.
No, it's oinus. They're oinus. Rahman Patre. It's something in the head. We're not going to understand it. It's oinus. Yeah. Anybody's ship that goes down, anybody has a business problem, anybody has a tirda, he's not getting along with his wife that day. Pat from Krishma, if you're going to say such a thing. Is there anybody in the world that's more Torah, that has something going on in his mind more than Ovel? His mind is bogged down. He just lost a loved one. Rahman al-Islam. Can't think about anything. Zero. Yeah. Oval is chayiv in all the mitzvahs. Not oinen, oval. Chutz min tefillin. Well, we're talking about oinen. Chutz min tefillin. Shenemer and pe'er. Because Baruch told the Cheskel and Avi, you have to wear tefillin. Mashma, that nobody in the world wears tefillin, because tefillin are a pe'er. Fine. What I write here? Oh. Now I was just thinking about, no, there's a, this shittas that say that anybody that goes to a wedding, and don't take this literally, but this is a shita. Go to a wedding, you put him in a mitzvah. You always a mitzvah, put him in a mitzvah. You don't have to daven, put him in a mitzvah. I was just thinking about, they say about Reb Chatzkel Avransky, and that's such a nice thing. They say he said it. He said he never went to any chasana in his life. He only went to 2 chasanas. He went to his sister's chasana because his mama, she felt that he was forced. And he went to his wife's chasana because he felt that he was forced. Zog the Gemara. Wow, I like this crowd. This is a geschmack crowd. They laugh at everything. Okay. Elo Marova. This idea that you're allowed to marry a woman who never was married before on Shabbos. Elo Marova Tanoi. First time can be on Shabbos. The Tani Chada Im Leosa Maisa Berishoin Potter. If a guy wasn't with his wife on the first day of marriage, in other words, what day? Wednesday night. Potter Mikriyashma af Basheni, so he's Potter from Kriyashma even on Thursday. Basheni, he wasn't with his wife on Thursday, Potter af Bashlishi. Now he's Potter even on Friday night. Why? Because Friday night he's tarud about Friday night. In other words, Friday night is mutter. Otherwise, he wouldn't be potter on Shlishi, which is Friday night. The Wednesday night, Thursday night, potter Shlishi chayiv. There's another brisa that says the opposite. That on Friday night, it's awesome to be with your wife for the first time. Says the Gemara of Abaya Hosam Nami B'tir the Pligi. No, I'm going to tell you. I could tell you, Friday night, which is Shabbos, also to be with your wife. But I'm still tarud with this mitzvah that I didn't do, and that's a tirda. It's a tirda the mitzvah. There's a difference between losing money in the stock exchange, which I'm tarud, or burying a loved one, a very loved one. Think about the most loved person in your life. Burying that person, it's not a mitzvah. To bury, yes, but 2 days later when you're crying, and you can't think about business, and you can't think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's not a mitzvah. That's your own emotions. You're crying because somebody died. Okay, it's human nature, but that doesn't give you a p'tur from tefillin and from kriyashma. Over here, this poor guy is thinking about a mitzvah. That's different. Thinking about how to perform a mitzvah, whether he's allowed to do it today, or whether he's thinking about how he messed up and he didn't do yesterday, that's irrelevant. His concern is a mitzvah. For that mitzvah, I pater you from doing other mitzvahs. Because a person is only obligated to concentrate on one mitzvah at a time. To concentrate on one mitzvah. And his concentration is about a mitzvah. It's not about inyan d'alma, it's not about parnasa, it's about a mitzvah. So again, the fact that I'm wearing tzitzis, and I'm wearing tefillin, and I'm shaking the lulav, doesn't pater me from Kriya Shema, because I could do both. It's not taking up my mind. But when a mitzvah takes up my mind, then I'm pater. And this resembles another machlokes tanoi. The Zanya Koines is a psula le'yivol batchila b'Shabbos. And there we go. It says mefurish tanoim that you should not have the first bia on Shabbos. Mutter. As we said before, the halacha is it's mutter. Man chachamim. Who are these chachamim? Omer Rabbi Shimoni. This is the famous Rabbi Shimon we discussed, and this is the Rabbi Shimon throughout all of Shas. And there's a few gishmak machlokes between Rabbi Shimon and Yehuda and Masechel Shabbos, but this is, I think, the famous one. Davar she'enim eskaven if you schlep a bench on Shabbos, you had no kavanah to make a hole, your kavanah was to bring it to another place. The Omar Dovshim Iskavin Mutter. So here we're going to go, without going to the whole thing, he holds that it's lahanasai, it's for his own hana, and it goes according to Reb Shimon that it's mutter, kitzer. Okay. Going back to this chart thing. Zog the Gemara. Amalei Abaye. What are you going to do about the problem? That yes, if I'm going to drag a bench and it's the softest dirt in the world, it's going to create a furrow. Of course, it's also even according to Reb Shimon because it's 100%. I cannot say that I'm going to cut off this animal's head and expect the animal to live. I can't say I'm going to drag this bench from point A to point B and expect the dirt to be smooth when I'm done. This is what we were talking about before. I didn't understand this Gemara. I'm missing something here. There's some sort of trick the Bavlim know, and we're talking about unmarried guys. How do they know? They practice. They obviously didn't practice. They know how to do a trick. Not like these guys in Bavel, the ones that wrote the Gemara, that don't know about this stuff. Ela yesh bekim ba'atoya. There are those, the rest of the world, that know how to perform the act without creating a wound, without any dam. In other words, the psulim will remain. So I believe it's not a full act, it's a partial, it's hara, whatever it is. It's considered the act, but the psulim will still be there. Imkain, if he's such a chacham, he knows the trick. Tarid lama. So what is he thinking about? Why is he so occupied? And why can't he say Kriya Shema? You're right. That's L'Sheni Baki. That's the guy that doesn't know the trick. Says the Gemara, Yomer Baki Mutter. So they should just say hatzlacha. Okay. If a guy knows the trick, he's allowed to be with his wife for the very first time in Shabbos. Sheni Baki Asur. Personally, I don't know. I'm going through the sugya. It's musagim in hatzlacha. It's things. It's literally, it's like that first pasuk. Be'emes, not on a high level. I think everybody that's watching, listening, that's how the Bachrim usually learn Yeshiva. Most of them have no idea what they're talking about B'chlal. And if they did, it's just throwing out musagim here. Shei Baki Yasser. So Gemara says, Rav Bekime, most people know the trick, and Memei let's mutter on Shabbos. So, we're going to have it later on, in a few days, in a week, whatever. The Gemara says that in Yehuda, that interesting minhag, the Chassan and the Kala both had representatives. And they put down a white sheet. Maybe that's where these rumors came from, I don't know. They put down a sheet, and they would check afterwards, was the dam psulum, not dam psulum, so that the chassan can't lie and say, she wasn't a psula. Now, if he's a big bucky, then why do you need a representative? Why do you need a mappa? There's not going to be anything anyways. There's still psulim, says the Gemara. No. If the guy pulls off the trick, then there's no concern b'chlal because she's going to say, I'm a psula, because that's what she is. And he can't deny that. What's going to happen is he's not going to perform the trick. He's going to destroy the psulim, and then he's going to say she wasn't a psula. For that way we are concerned, and that's why each one sends a representative, check the sheet. Mazar Rabami. We'll just do 2 more lines and we'll finish for today. Also, big sugyas, and I remember learning this in yeshiva for weeks. I don't know, weeks, days upon days. These lines right here. Hamapis Mursa b'Shabbos. If somebody has a boil, and the boil is full of pus, and he pokes, some people have the zit, put a little needle in it, poke the pus out. Ma'aseh Sheb'chol Yom in yeshiva. You can just see the chavrusa going, look, I take the needle and I didn't warm it up first, it could be an infection, but I boil it first, I go like this and that. No, you don't have to do a needle, just give it a squeeze it on his friend. If he's just making an opening, because he figures he'll poke a hole in it, it'll be a nice hole, and whatever pus, whatever zit he has in there will ooze out for the next 2 days, that's also, he's creating a nice opening. Or if all he wants is the pus, potter. Oh, so the question is, if the dam is mifkat pocket, like maybe in this case, it's mamish like a zit. You have dam that's in some sort of bubble somewhere. You're allowed to remove pus from a bubble. So you should be allowed to remove blood from a bubble. That's what you're telling me it is. It's not part of the blood flow of the body. It's something special for psulim only. So what's the difference? Why do you tell me that's also to be boiled on Shabbos? Says the Gemara in Pocket Valkyr. When you have a boil, the pus, whatever you want to call it, what is it called in English? Pus is okay? The pus is 100% separate from the body. It's not part of the body. Hacha, Pocket Valkyr. Over here, the dam is part, it's connected to the walls, it's separate, yet it's attached. So since it's attached, you're taking away from the body a little bit. That's the problem. Boisai, have a wonderful day. We'll see you Be'ezer Hashem from Eretz Yisrael. Thank you so much for hosting me. Thank you. And don't forget to bring your friends and your chaverim. You mizakeh them with Torah. Have a great day. Yishkoyach Gary for coming with me, driving with me from Baltimore to New York, being part of the tech